2XKO was just shown off at the Game Awards with their newest character for Season 1, and let's just say, most people aren't very happy with the choice that Riot made. And to an extent, I can kind of agree. So here's the sneak peek they released. They're also advertising the new console release, which is great that they're finally getting that out there with Season 1, because people have been asking for it for a while, and Riot's been kind of silent. Anyways, here's Caitlyn. Now, this is all they show. That's the extent of it. All we get to see is a Caitlyn model. Now, Caitlyn is a pick. There's a number of issues that come from this. First off, there's only 12 characters now. 5 of those characters are from Arcane. A lot of people wanted something more interesting. League of Legends has over 200 characters, all that are very unique, and instead we just get another kind of generic Arcane fighting character, right? And then the other issue is kind of who Caitlyn is as a League of Legends champion. One of the interesting things about 2XKO is it feels like a lot of the new characters try to be as much of that League character, or just kind of how we as the players know that character as possible, right? They've implemented pretty much all of, Teemo's kit. Blitzcrank has his famous hook. He's got his static field, ultimate ability and stuff like that. They've been trying to be very truthful to their kind of source material in this sense. Well, with Caitlyn, her entire thing in League of Legends here is that, see this long range attacks? First off, she's an 80 carry. Obviously, she's a sniper rifle. 80 carries are the basically ranged attack damage carry class that goes bot lane. And Caitlyn's entire gimmick from that class is that she is the longest range out of all of them. So most 80 carries run at about 550 range, auto attack range. The more brawler type ones run at 525. Ashe runs at 600. Caitlyn's is 700. She has about 150 more range than just the normal 80 carry, which is just such an insane advantage because she can play so much further back. Okay, so why is that a problem? 2XKO's most recent character was Teemo, who in the same way plays as far back as possible and is basically a zoner. It seems really strange for Riot to release a zoner who becomes very annoying and one of the best characters in the game to release another zoner. Riot has basically, from League of Legends, gained this reputation that when brand new characters are released, they are released in a very strong state. Obviously, because you have to unlock the character, you have to purchase them. People, will go out and actually spend money on a character who's broken. So with 2XKO, there really hasn't been a whole lot to refute that. Obviously, Warwick came out. People are starting to think he's good now, but he's bugged, so that's beside the point. That's a whole different conversation. But Teemo came out, and he was crazy strong. So I can understand fears for another zoner coming out and being very strong and very annoying to play against. Maybe not to the extent of Teemo, but again, Caitlyn's whole thing is that she has long range. If we skip ahead to kind of her abilities here, you can see, so her Q is just a long range ability, whatever. Let's talk about her passive too. Her passive is a thing called Headshot. Basically, the more she stacks up attacks, like every 5th attack, she gets a very strong auto attack that crits. And then she has several ways to proc this headshot with her abilities. So the main ability that I want to talk about that also has me worried about Caitlyn being more of a zoner set play type character is her W, called Yordle Snap Trap. You see this little trap right here? She basically can place it, and then it'll root characters. And then she can also headshot them after with a longer range sniper. It gives her more range if she's far away from the trap. So that's going to be super interesting. Obviously, I don't know how they're going to implement something like that. Jinx has her flame trappers, but those move. In League of Legends, they don't really move. They kind of move around, but they stay in the same place when you use them. Caitlyn's trap, I guess I don't really know how they're going to implement that if they don't have something similar to like Jinx chompers. Otherwise, it could just stand on the floor. It'll be really interesting to see what they do with this and how they set it up. I can imagine this leading to a lot of really annoying situations in the corner, kind of covering a lot of options like tech roll and stuff like that. So that's just something we're going to have to see. Unfortunately, with this trailer, all we get is Caitlyn, which is another mistake here because now the community gets to sit and wonder what this could look like. Honestly, it might have been better to just wait till Caitlyn had gameplay, especially knowing the disappointment that would come from people who didn't want another Arcane character or another zoner. So even just releasing a 3-second sneak peek that Caitlyn is the next character, I think was a massive mistake from Riot's point when it comes to like marketing their game and trying to get more people to play it. Even if Caitlyn does have that arcane popularity, even though Jason Victor probably have it more, that's beside the point. I guess I don't have the Riot surveys and data to back that up. Just my own personal feelings and what I've seen online. But yeah, anyways, I just think that this is such an odd choice. Caitlyn's E is net that also gets headshot. She can kind of use it to escape, right? Like, that's kind of worries me as well. Imagine just kind of fighting Caitlyn in neutral and she just kind of dashes back like that, kind of like Ari does in the air. Not happy about that. And then her ult's just a long-range sniper rifle. She has to take time to charge it up, but this thing is like not half the map. But you can see down here in the circle, it's a very large range as to where she wants to, cast it. So very long-range abilities, more damage, whatever. Very straightforward, simple character in League, right? So the question becomes, what would a 2x KO moveset look like anyways for Caitlyn? Now, here's the interesting part, and it could save us, especially since a lot of people are doing what Caitlyn will look like. Now, obviously, this is an arcane fighter at this point, and Caitlyn was an arcane. In arcane, Caitlyn was like training for melee combat. She used a shorter ranged weapon like a pistol, and she did have several scenes where she was hand to hand, like training with Ambessa, and I believe she even had a fight with like Vi at one point that was hand to hand combat. So realistically, I don't think it's crazy to say that Caitlyn could be able to scrap close range, right? She doesn't have to be a zoner. Unfortunately, with the full model here that we get, she does pull out the sniper rifle and kind of charge it up. Again, not a whole lot to go off of. Not a lot of confidence for being, more close range. But realistically, she's going to have something that's close range. I mean, we see Jinx has a hammer now. That's the thing with a lot of these AD carries from League of Legends is how do they transfer over without making them a long-range zoner, right? I mean, Ezreal, for example, his entire thing is that he shoots long-range abilities. Well, of course, he's going to have something like a punch. Like, what's his Teemo has short-range abilities that aren't in League of Legends. Teemo has a shovel now and a campfire. Those kind of fit his theme. So exactly what is Caitlyn's theme that allows her to scrap up close? It'll be interesting to see kind of what direction they take Caitlyn. I'm hoping for the best. However, because of the little information we were given, there's just not a lot to go off of. And I really hope that she comes out and she's fun and puts all these fears to rest. Because again, people are already getting sick of the small roster. I think that's already one of the major issues with this game. Every complaint that I see online, whether or not they think of it, it all boils down to this roster is too small. This roster is kind of an issue, and Riot didn't really do themselves much favor by showing 3 seconds of Caitlyn. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Anything helps a lot. And I'll catch you next time.